Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. Today is February 14th, 2021. So on Patreon, we gave out full picks today, and the last fight of the night, we fell short of hitting the 14 parlay. This fight, it got called for Macy Barber at the end, but then the referees, they talked about it, and then they gave it to Alexa Grasso, which is just strange. I mean, they called it for Macy Barber, and then they switched it up at the end. But I always recommend people to not parlay. I know the parlays pay more, but in situations like this, it burns when you have a 14 parlay and then you miss by one pick. This is why I always recommend people to just do the straight bet. You put each pick individually and you put money on them individually. That way, if one out of the four picks loses, you don't lose out on the bet, on your ticket, on your parlay. Because today was a great day. The Brooklyn Nets, they won money line. The Utah Jazz, they took care of business. We even had the fighter Kelvin Gastelum. He came through. This was an easy one. Notice his opponent became 14-4 on the 44th day of the year. We write out 44 as a word. It sums to 144. So on the 44th day of the year, the fighter becomes 14-4. And of course, the Jesuit order sums to 144 and 54, just like how when you write out the number 44. Also, in the NBA, James Harden, notice he had 19 points today, 8 rebounds, and 16 assists. We actually called this before the game. Notice what it says up here. I put the Golden State Warriors can pick up their 13th loss of the season and pick up their 6th home loss. And that's exactly what happened, right? They picked up their 13th loss of the season and their 6th home loss because 13 and 6, they have a relationship through prime numbers because 13 is the 6th prime. And the game was also on the 13th of the month, right? So they picked up their 13th loss on the 13th against the Nets, the team with the 13 connection, right? Nets is 13 in Gematria. And 13 is the 6th prime. And of course, James Harden, who wears the number 13 for the Brooklyn Nets, his name sums to 44. So on the 44th day of the year, Mr. James Harden, he has nearly a triple-double, right? 19 points, 8 rebounds, 16 assists, top performer. Like how we called before the game, right? So we nailed this. You could have easily took this to cover the spread because they did. And also this game. Now, this game was tricky. A lot of people on Patreon thought that the Utah Jazz was going to fall to 11-3 because Utah Jazz sums to 113. But I've noticed that, whoever's writing these scripts, they definitely know that people are decoding them. And they are setting traps. I always tell people, watch out for the traps. Don't always go for the obvious. The Utah Jazz, instead of becoming 11-3 at home, they picked up their 22nd win of the season. And they did it against the Miami Heat, which sums to 79, the 22nd prime. So the perfect opponent to pick up your 22nd win of the season. So now all the time when you see a riddle like this, like, oh look, Utah Jazz can become 11-3 at home, they can lose this game. No, these are traps. Because if you guys saw this game, the Heat couldn't even score in the third quarter. It was like around, I think it was 17-0 in the third quarter at one point. Yeah, so the Utah Jazz started the quarter 17-0. And that's all part of the rigging. Another team, look, the Knicks also had that 13-6 connection, right? They picked up their 13th win of the season and their 6th home win on the 13th, and 13 is a 6th round. So it looks like a lot of teams had that 13-6 going for them today. The Atlanta Hawks stayed on 6 home wins. The Rockets stayed on 6 road wins. I guess the only team the Nets could have picked up their 13th loss, but then they would have never had the 13-6 connection like how the Warriors did, right? The Warriors had the 13th loss and their 6th home loss. It was either the or for this one. You either pick up their 13th loss or stay on. Actually, they came into this game 4-7, so yeah, it didn't have the 13-6 connection for the Brooklyn Nets. Only the 13. You could have picked up their 13th loss, but it's always against. If the Warriors would have had the 13 connection, then the Warriors would have been a better pick than the Nets. But it's Nets that equals 16. Nets equals 13, excuse me. And that's why the Warriors picked up their 13th loss. So you always want to see, the gematria of your opponent, right? Because the Miami Heat equals 79. Now, for example, if Utah Jazz equals 79 and they can pick up their 22nd win, that's not strong enough, in my opinion, for these games to decode it. It's always against. You got to look at your opponent's gematria and see if the team's record can be affected by their opponent's gematria value. Like how in this case, the Jazz picked up their 22nd win versus the team with the 22 connection. The Warriors picked up their 13th loss against the team with the 13th connection. And so on, right? I think Houston also equals 41. Or is it Rockets? I could have sworn Houston and Rockets had a 13 connection. Oh no, I think it was James Harden was that he used to play for them. I guess it's Harden that equals 13. I think. Oh no, Harden and Rockets has the same gematria. Harden is 112 and 31, like Houston. Okay, that's what it was. And then Harden used to wear the number 13, so that was the connection with 13 and the Rockets when he used to play there last season. But yeah, so I'm really upset that Macy Barber, because they called the fight for her, but because she had a great riddle. They call her the Future. That's like I guess a fighting nickname. And the Future sums to 124. Her opponent could have became 12-4. But for some reason they just at the end they just switched it up. I don't get. I know these games are rigged, but it's just sometimes they like to mess around with the fans, because they announced Macy Barber as the winner, and then moments later they said, you know what? Nope, we're gonna give it to Alexa. But notice she became 13-3. If she would have lost, she would have became 12-4 against the Future, Macy Barber. And it's also 94 days to her birthday, and her full name sums to 94. So she had a great narrative. I guess they went with something different. Yeah, but it's always best to go with the straight betting. Yesterday, we did some hockey yesterday. The Bruins, I want to show you guys what they did with the Bruins yesterday. Show you guys how all these leagues are interconnected and they are all rigged together. You guys all know that Tom Brady just won the Super Bowl, right, to close out the 101st NFL season. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they used to play in Boston for the New England Patriots, right? And you guys all know when Tom Brady was in New England, all the Boston franchises were successful, right? The Boston Bruins, they was winning. Then you had the Boston Celtics, they was winning championships. The Boston Red Sox was winning championships. Now Tom Brady goes to Florida, and now in Florida you're seeing the same thing, right? The Tampa Bay Rays just went to the World Series. The Tampa Bay Lightning just won the Stanley Cup. And of course the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just won the Super Bowl. But look what they did yesterday in hockey. The Bruins, they beat the Rangers, right? Tom Brady equals 46, right? The Rangers become 4-6 for the season. And then the Bruins win and become 10-1, like 101, like how Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski just won the Super Bowl to close out the 101st NFL season. And they did it against the Rangers because their next opponent was going to be the Islanders. The Islanders, right? Islanders equals 101 in gematria. So they came into their next game against the Islanders 10-1. And they also paid tribute to Tom Brady. I started the season 10-1. Boston Bruins, right? Unbelievable. All these leagues raked together, all of them. But yeah. So we didn't do any hockey today. I'll probably dig into some hockey tomorrow, Sunday. Actually, tomorrow we're gonna focus on the Daytona 500. I got one driver that I think has some pretty good numbers, and the thing with NASCAR, I don't know if you guys remember, those of you that have been following me for a while, we nailed Chase Briscoe. You know, I've never did NASCAR before, but this was actually my first time, and we were successful. Chase Briscoe won on May 21st, 521 and 98th prime. He drives the car number 98. His full name also sums to 98. Let me show you. He was born Chase David Wayne Briscoe. His full name is 98. The date of the race, and his name is also 21. It's also 215, like the date, right? 21/5, like the day that he won. But he was competing in the Darlington Raceway, which equals 98. Just like Toyota 200 is 98. And then the day of the race was May 21st. And 521 is the 98 prime. And I just noticed that now that his name is 21/5, like the date of the race. You know, tomorrow's race, I'm not in love with the riddle like I was with Chase Briscoe, because as you guys can see, there was a lot for Chase Briscoe. Like if I had $1 million, I would have put it on Chase Briscoe to win. That's how confident I was. And there was also a big story with Chase Briscoe right before the race where his wife had a miscarriage. Right? NASCAR driver Chase Briscoe reveals his wife had miscarriage. So it looks like they sacrificed their unborn baby to win that race, huh? Sick stuff, I know. But notice how unborn baby sums to the same gematria as Darlington, where the race was at. Also sums to the same gematria as South Carolina. And this was also synced up with Donald Trump, who was at the Ford facility the same day as the race. And Trump is 25. This was a 25-year-old. Right? Ford is 25. Like death, like wife. His wife just had a miscarriage. Yeah, so there was a lot of 98 connections here. I'm not that confident in tomorrow's race, but we do have a driver who has some interesting synchronicities, and I think he might pull it off. So if you guys are interested in some NASCAR, I mean, the odds is unbelievable. I mean, the driver that I have is a 10-1 odds. Think about it. You put $100 on him, you win $1,000. But yeah. So this was my first time. And think about it. There's like 40 drivers. Those of you that say, I know a lot of my critics say that I'm not good at this because they want to be the best at this. You know how difficult it is to call a NASCAR driver, a NASCAR winner? There's like 40 drivers. And we're not picking 2 and 3 drivers. I picked one driver, and that driver came in first place. And then I showed the ritual right after the race was over. It was all synced up with his unborn baby who passed away. And also his name. It was all synced up with his name. The guy wins. The vehicle number 98 wins on 21/5. The guy's full name sums to those values. So this is not guessing, right? He wasn't even the favorite in this fight. This paid out a lot of money. My patrons were so happy that day. Hopefully tomorrow we get the same outcome, But I'll leave it there. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, whoever celebrates it. Valentine's Day should be every day, if you ask me. But so it looks like we got 2 hockey games tomorrow. I'll probably decode these 2 games. And then we'll just stick to these 2 games, and then the NASCAR race. So yeah, we missed it by a hair. I seen some people left a message. They missed out on $1,500. My apologies. I don't ever recommend parlays because of situations like this. There's also a thing called I forgot what they call it. Robin Road something. You guys know what it means. I don't know what it called. I don't know what it's called, but it's where you can place a bet on a parlay, and if you lose by one team, you still get paid. I think it's called. Let me see. Round robin it's called, right? So even if you miss one pick, you still get paid in a round robin. That's also an option you guys have. All I do is try to get you guys the best teams to win with the best odds. It's up to you how you want to place the bet. You could have just easily just say, you know what, I'm just gonna go with Brooklyn at -168, put $168 and win $100. You could have did that. You don't have to pick all of them. But if anybody out there is interested in the Daytona 500 pick, I'm gonna leave a link in the comment section. Give us a try, and if you guys don't make any money, you can always unsubscribe. But I put out quality work. None of this stuff. I'm not guessing. I'm not going with my gut. I'm not telling people take the points. I'm not doing any of that. This stuff is well researched, as you guys can see. I spent a lot of time on these picks. I mean, look what time I put. I think this was 11:59 in the morning. Sometimes I'm up to like 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me show you guys. Look, 1:30 a.m. 10:55 a.m. 3:10 a.m. February 9th. Sometimes I'm up all the way to 3 in the morning putting out these picks, right? Yeah, so a lot of time goes into this stuff. But good luck to everybody. And so Keenan Stagg says that Steve Kerr got his 64th home loss. Brooklyn Nets is 64, and the Nets got their 16th win 53 days after playing the Warriors on 12/22. Yeah, that's a great decode. Golden State fell to 5-6 versus the Eastern Conference on the 56-day mirage. Yeah, James Harden went off because it was the 44th day of the year, and we called it. We said it, James Harden, 44. 44. On February 13th, you look back in history, James Harden always has a good day because it's the 13th of the month and it's the 44th day of the year. And his name is 44, and he wears the number 13. He always has a great game on February 13th. Somebody asked me about my book. I was just writing my book today. I kind of got like writer's block. My book is right here. This is the introduction. You guys can just pause the video and read the introduction. I still have a lot to go because I wanted to release it on this Sunday today, but I don't want to put it out just to put it out because I really want it to be 100%. And I don't feel like it's 100% yet. I still have to proofread it 3-4 more times before I put it out. But this is my intro. But I'm thinking about changing some things. I'm probably go back and edit some things because I want to make it easier to read. Because I'm trying to attract new people to the community. Those of you who are already veterans in this community. These language, like if I say reverse simple English gematria, you already know what that means. But somebody new, somebody that have never seen a video before, somebody in the street that I just met for the first time and say, look, this is my book on gematria. Are you interested in reading it? I don't want them asking like, what is reverse simple English gematria? I want everything, every question that they may have for it to be answered in the book. So there's a lot of things here that I'm probably have to edit. So. But once it's 100% and I'm satisfied with it, I'm definitely putting it out. So just want to show you guys that I am writing a book. I know there's a troll out there that says that I'm scamming, that I'm lying, that I'm not writing a book. I am writing a book, and this is it right here. I can't show you the whole thing because then nobody was gonna want to purchase it because they're already gonna see it here, right? But my introduction is for free because you guys can see the introduction. You can pause the video and read it on your own. But again, this might not be the final introduction. So appreciate that, John. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody who's willing to support the book. I really appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully we get it done as soon as possible. So I guess we could leave it there. A lot of you kept asking me about J.J. Watt and what I think about his release. I'm thinking like he could probably go to Seattle and play with Russell Wilson. Cause he got released on the 43rd day of the year. His name sums to 43, just like Seattle Seahawks. I was decoding all the names of every single team in the NFL, and Seattle Seahawks is the only team with the 43 gematria. So I was like, maybe they released him on the 43rd day of the year. His name is 43, like football. How perfect would it be for him to join Russell Wilson and company, right? So let's see what happens with him. He was born on that infamous date, right? March 22nd, 322, and then he got released on a day leaving 322 days left in the year. So definitely a skull and bones ritual. But let's see, because the only team in the NFL that sums to 43 is the Seahawks. So I think he might go there. They let him go on the 43rd day of the year. And that would be great. The Seahawks will definitely be the favorites to win it if that happens. Well, at least go to the Super Bowl. So let's see what happens with that. But you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. And good luck, everybody, tomorrow on the Daytona 500. I really hope this hits because it's going to be a great payout. You guys have a great rest of your night, and thank you for watching.